story once we
Yeah.
roll into it.
Yeah. Let's do it.
But they're like calling, and then the person's like, he's in a wedding, like he can't come.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, change the date to something else. And it's
Of the
like,
wedding.
Yeah. And she's like, I can't go ask him. And she's like, go ask him and tell him to move it. She's like, it's not like he's in a wedding. It's his own wedding. Like, I'm not going to ask him to move the date. And J-Lo's like, go ask him. And her assistant's just like...
Because what are you going to do? You're
Like,
J-Lo's assistant.
Yeah, went to go do it.
You're about to be unemployed.
He said no. And so then when the movie comes out, you see who's actually like the gods on Olympus or something like that. I don't know. I've never watched the movie, but it's like, I don't know. Who's that guy, the rapper from like Ogden or whatever, Post Malone?
Yeah.
He's one of the people, and then like a few other like C-list actors.
Post Malone's always written down though. You gotta
He's down
give
for
him
whatever.
credit for it.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. He probably didn't have to be like strong-armed into it, but
He's like,
It's
what
just-
am I doing? Am I smoking dope or am I playing video games that
Yeah.
night?
he's like,
Yeah,
well,
it
I could
doesn't
probably-
matter.
I
I'll
could
be
probably-
there.
Yeah. Well, and then I didn't even know about that space one. Like,
Dude, you gotta watch
it
it.
sounds terrible, so I may have to watch it.
I love terrible movies, and it's a pretty good one. It is not any, Attack of the Moon or whatever.
It's
That's
either Attack on Titan or Moonfall.
Moonfall.
Yeah.
Moonfall was.
Dude, Moonfall is dope.
It is so good.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Because it's terrible, but then the framework of the little got you at the end.
It's pretty, yeah. It's pretty good.
All right, well, let's dig in. What are we going to talk about today?
Well, first things first, welcome back, everybody. I think we've got all the bugs figured out. We're learning new stuff. We actually are going to touch base on a couple different things. But I'm going to kick it off with some new information I have.
Oh,
Yeah, which I'm like
beating the
Pretty-
streets, dude.
pretty.
Citizen journalists.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty excited to share it with you guys because the interesting thing. All right, so where this started out for me, it started with a video, and I'm hoping the video will play. If not, I'll just explain it. I was doing what I always do, and that is go down the TikTok rabbit hole.
It's a good rabbit hole to go down.
You know it, and you know it's a good rabbit hole too when you start like saving. Like obviously I've been sending. We have a group text, and I text these guys all the crazy stuff I find.
Yeah.
But you know it's good when I went back to see some of those videos again, and they'd been taken down. So you know,
Yeah, first indication that you're onto something.
You know you're onto something when
Daniel,
it's
they
not
just
there.
take him down to protect you from
The truth.
untruths that can.
Oh, untruth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they protect
No.
you from the lies.
It's freaking true. All right. So, anyways, there quite possibly could be a second shooter.
Yeah.
I mean, the first time I was like, "Is there a second shooter?" We even talked a little bit.
Yeah,
about
we
that.
did.
And I'm gonna cue this up here really quick. And if it doesn't work on,
I mean, Daniel, are you sure it's a second shooter? Or is it the only shooter? Because I heard even some people saying that there's really no evidence that
Crooks ever
the
fired a
Crooks
shot.
ever fired a
I've heard that
shot.
one.
yeah,
He
yeah,
caught one.
He
didn't-
caught one.
He didn't shoot
caught a
one.
bullet. Yeah, he did. Poor guy. Well, maybe not poor if he was the shooter, but based on what I'm going to present, I'm pretty sure he was the patsy.
All right, let's
So
hear it.
let me see if I can get this to transition.
All right, ready. All right, ready.
Hold on.
It's like,
Everything's playing all at once, and that's
Okay.
not what I wanted. All right, so hold on 1 second. I'm going to do this here really quick.
Everybody just close your eyes.
Yeah.
Spoiler alerts.
Yeah, everyone,
You better
close
quit
your
looking.
eyes, and we're going to try this one more time. Let me see if I can get this to work. I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger here really fast. But what you're going to see, I'll kind of give you it goes quick, so I'm going to give you a little bit of like a breakdown on what you're going to see. So essentially, there's the video of Trump when he was shot at, right, that everyone's seen, right? Like the news was recording him
Yeah.
at his speech.
that was Well, they say it happened in 4K.
Yeah,
Right.
convenient.
Right.
The revolution will be televised.
Yeah.
So, from that video, you see and hear like the gunshots, right? Like bang, 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 and then there's like bang, 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 more shots, and it from a distance, it sounds very similar to everything kind of going on, but the new video that has come out just recently that I'm going to show here in just a second actually gives you more audio than what you think. And so we might listen to it a few times, but I'm gonna just jump right into it. It happens fast. It's only about a minute long, and if you're listening to this, turn it up on your device, whatever you're watching it on, because you're gonna really want to hear this. So let's go ahead and bring it.
And you know, that's a little bit old, shoot the truck and fucking shoot the service truck. What a fucking sick world.
So
Okay,
were the 5? So the 3 were.
So this is where things get a little bit confusing. So there, you can hear in the video, there's 3 initial gunshots, right? And then there's a pause, 5 gunshots, and then right after the conclusion of those 5 shots, there's another shot. Now, what we're being told is that the first 8 shots that were fired all came from Crooks.
And then they just one-shotted him.
And then they domed him, sniper, Secret Service, suppressed rifle, ends up hitting him, right? Now, the interesting thing is if you listen to that audio, the first 3 shots and then the next 5 shots are different. They sound different.
For sure.
I was saying, I'm not a gun expert by any means.
Right.
But you can tell they sound very different.
Correct. Now, the first 3 shots sound, to me, someone that dabbles in firearms, is typical of like an AR style rifle unsuppressed.
That's the first one?
That's the first one.
Okay.
The 5 shots sound suppressed to me. And they sound like they're coming from further away.
Which
Okay?
is why there'd be no echo.
Correct.
Where the first ones have echoes.
Correct. So then what I'm gonna do is I've actually got footage of me shooting,
Okay.
suppressed and unsuppressed, from an AR-15, and the goal of this is I'm gonna point out 2 different things: 1, the sound of the rifle, and then 2, the actual recoil of the rifle. Okay. So
Sick.
let me send over this first one here real quick, and then you guys can take a look.
All right, ready.
That's what I was. Who's this from?
That's when I was. Wait, who's this from?
I know.
Take a step away.
That is interesting, Daniel, because I just immediately could tell that was like the 5.
Right. Now I'm going to show you the difference with it being unsuppressed.
All right, ready.
Dude,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
was Daniel one of the shooters?
I know. Yeah. Where
no,
was Daniel?
I have an
Oh,
alibi.
okay.
I was definitely in Utah when that
But
happened.
that is crazy to me because Daniel, are we recording right now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Philly and I both could hear that when we were listening, and we knew which one you were representing. The one you were shooting when you said it was suppressed sounded exactly like the 5,
Yeah.
and the one you shot unsuppressed
Right.
exactly like the 3.
Right.
And his gun was probably not suppressed.
No. And I think we would have heard that in the news if that was actually the case. I don't think that was the case. But definitively there is for sure a difference between those rifles. Now, then that begs the question, okay, was that Secret Service shooting back at him? Was that police shooting back at him with a suppressed rifle? According to media and the news and reports that are coming out from the local police investigation, the only shot that was fired was from the Secret Service.
And is
that's what
that
took
last?
him out. And
Does
that was
the last bullet?
shot.
Is it suppressed?
Suppressed? Yeah, suppressed bolt action.
Like the
So they
official,
do. So the Secret Service
Oh yeah.
does have suppressors on
yeah.
there.
but the
Yeah.
official word then is that there was 8 shots by Crooks, 1 shot by the Secret Service.
Correct.
That's just like flat out
That's not true.
not true.
Right.
Also, if you're
That doesn't mean that doesn't mean that there's. I'm just saying that's not true. But that
Yeah.
doesn't. I'm not drawing any conclusions yet.
I
Okay.
would think like what actually happened versus what we think they wanted to happen, the timing would have been off
Right.
because you would think the suppressed shot would take a shot first as Crooks is taking the shot.
But it'd be hard to time it.
Well, yeah, but that's where that lady then in the stand like holds up. She's like an FBI agent, and she holds up the sign, puts it down, picks up her phone, and like
I saw
doesn't
that video.
react.
That's what people are thinking she is an FBI agent.
Well, she is.
She is one.
Yeah, she is one. So she holds up the
I
sign,
didn't know that.
Bro, what
Puts
are you
it down.
talking about?
and then she like holds her phone and smiles, and then the gunshots, and everybody else like moves, and she's just like,
I've seen the video. I know who you're talking
I've
about.
seen the video. I'm like, that lady's got some cojones. But what
yeah,
you're saying is
she's the head. She's some department. I can look it up and find it, and find out.
look
exactly
it up
who her
and
name
find
is.
it, bro. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like the timing, I think
This is
is off.
surprising.
I think she gives the sign, and then Crooks takes the shot, but he takes off 3 by the time the second shooter, supposedly the suppressed shooter,
Right.
fires. Because then where did his bullets go? Because Trump is already barricaded at that point by Secret Service.
Right. And that's where like you had
So did he
the
miss that bad?
firefighter that got hit.
Sorry, he or she missed that bad.
Yeah. Let's not. Yeah.
Don't assume the
Let's
second
not be
shooter's a
gender-
guy.
Let's not be gender specific.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a couple things here really quick that I want to point out. First, I think it's important that we understand kind of the layout here really quick, and so let me transition this.
Pieces of this.
Okay, so
Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's
so
see.
basically that image I just pulled up, and I apologize, the audio I can't talk and do this at the same time. But anyways, so the image that you saw kind of gives a breakdown, and most everyone's kind of seen this on the news. Essentially, you had the 3 barn-like buildings that were behind. That's what the Secret Service was standing on. Okay, then you had where Trump was standing, and then you had where Crooks was.
Yeah.
Right? Now, he was on an angled roof, and supposedly he was at the tip of the peak of the building, right? Concealing his body a little bit with his rifle over the top. But in the video that I showed earlier, where we heard the gunshots, if you remember, Crooks is actually on the back side of that building. Okay?
Wow.
He never got to the actual crest of that building, where if you're going to take a 130-yard shot with, a red dot or iron sights, you're gonna want to like have it propped up and rested. So if I was to take that shot, I would definitely work my way up there, get the rifle set on the tip of that peak, rest it, and then take my shots. Boom, boom,
So
boom.
you're saying that he didn't even. So when FBI signal lady possibly signaled, shots were fired, but he wasn't even shooting any of them.
See, that's where now we get into.
So
did
he was like
did he even
too far
take a
down
shot?
the roof.
Yeah, yeah. So
I mean, is it
his body after being
Yeah, because his body
shot,
was like in the middle. It wasn't at the peak. It was.
yeah,
It was away from the peak.
way from the peak. Now,
I didn't even
according to
connect
this,
that.
according to the CIA, or not CIA, sorry, the Secret Service, that shot that the Secret Service agent fired, it was a headshot. It
Okay.
put him down immediately. Now, some people are like, "Oh, his body slid back." Well, the grade on this roof was like
Yeah.
very little, like 110 degrees.
I heard it was dangerously steep from
Well,
the
that was.
head of the Secret Service.
Yeah.
She's-
But the irony is that the sniper
Yeah.
team was on a 130-degree grade.
Yeah. A steeper grade.
A steeper grade, which
Yeah.
preferably I'd rather be on a steeper grade in that situation than
Snipers
Yeah.
are tougher though.
on a lighter one.
Everyone
So-
knows that.
this is where it gets a little bit fuzzy because you have these different shots that were fired. Crooks never got to the crest of that building, and I guess he could have maybe kneeled, fired the 3 shots over the top of that, if he was tall enough in the grade, maybe. But again,
But you wouldn't lay flat out after getting
you wouldn't
domed
go
if you were kneeling.
You wouldn't go prone. Okay. Now, there's another video that I was going to show, but it got removed off of TikTok.
Classic.
Okay. And this video was from someone recording, and you actually saw the guy recording in that last video. He kind of stands up at the very end and he's got his phone up, but he actually was recording him when the 3 shots were fired by Crooks. And the thing that I noticed immediately is there was no recoil in his shoulder from firing that gun.
Wow.
Because if you fire, and you saw in the videos of me shooting it, and I'm much heavier than this kid,
Yeah.
and in a prone position, and I'm still getting recoil from the rifle as I
Can
fire.
you make a gun that has no recoil though?
Yes, but it's going to be mainly dependent upon caliber. Now, if he had a 22, sure.
They
You'd
can
have
do like
very little recoil.
Don't they have like some porting they can do out of the?
You can buy
diddly-do,
like
and then when you
muzzle brakes. You
yeah.
can buy even muzzle brakes. What it does is it doesn't mitigate and change whether or not the gun recoils or not. What it does is it changes the recoil impulse. So, for instance, if I have a muzzle brake, and muzzle brakes have different ports, some of them like have a couple on the top, a couple on the side. The idea is that it's blasting up and to the sides and pushing that gas out, so it's not coming straight out of the barrel. Now, does that
But you would
stop
see
recoil?
all of that part, like those
Oh
parts.
yeah, you'd see everything come out, and then what it typically will do is those ports on the top actually keep the muzzle down as you have your recoil impulse. So even it doesn't matter what he did to his gun. If he's firing a traditional AR-15, he's gonna have recoil.
Some sort of recoil.
And
What if it was
that
a
video-
laser gun, Daniel?
From
See,
Star
I've
Wars,
never-
it's true. I don't see
I've
stormtroopers.
Well, I remember in one of our episodes we talked about
I've never shot one, so I don't know.
We did talk about Antarctica.
Has Crooks been to Antarctica? Did some of his devices?
It's quite possible.
go to Antarctica,
Go to
and then
Antarctica
to the
and then-
FBI
yeah.
headquarters, and then back to Crook's house. Yeah,
So-
maybe.
Quite possible. Quite
I'm
possible.
trying to keep an open mind here.
I don't
Yeah.
even think we got into that on the show.
Yeah. So I'm gonna pull up again really quick that image here really fast. I want to show the layout again because I think it's really important to see and understand, what the layout is of what I'm about to suppose. It has been said in the media, but I don't think many people are, at least the media flat out was like, no. The Secret Service said no. Local police, everyone was like, no, there's no way that actually
They've really been
was the
spot
case.
on in the past about things like this, and so.
So let me
I tend
let me
to
bring
trust
this
them.
up one more time.
You do.
Yeah, I mean, when they told me that it is one shooter for JFK, when I was in heaven because I wasn't even born yet, that I believed them, and I was right to believe them because it's been proven over time
Yeah.
that there was
Right.
no shenanigans with the JFK
Right.
Right,
assassination.
and it's not the driver
So-
of the thing that turns around and shoots her, which would then make
Yeah.
Mrs. Kennedy. Her natural reaction is to then escape out of the back of the car because
Yeah.
somebody sitting in front of her just turned around with a gun and shot her husband. Nah, that can't
Bro,
be.
Yeah.
oh, so you're not even a grassy knoll guy. You're a freaking front seat gangster.
Well, I like the
level?
the storm drain's my favorite.
The storm
theory.
drain's the one that makes most sense.
That's
to me.
what I think is the reality. But there's another one that the driver turns around, domes him, and then drives off. And that's
Yeah.
where they get into the video being edited that doesn't have a.
Oh, the tree?
The tree is
Yeah.
missing its trunk in the footage.
seen that?
So it's obviously been altered.
Bro, I have not
It's
seen
nuts.
that because I watched The Truth with Walter Cronkite and Dan Rather when they told me that we were supposed to be in
The
Vietnam.
real talking
their
heads.
their record is impeccable.
Yes. So.
All right. So let me bring this up one more time. So essentially, I like this diagram because it gives like the best layout of it, right? So in this diagram, you have
All right.
the stage. You've got Trump. You've got the rally seating, right? And then you've got people that are in the crowd. But then in the middle of the picture, kind of towards those trees, you see
Yeah.
the water tower.
Oh.
Now,
That's a good place to
If-
shoot from.
if I was making that shot, I would want even a higher elevated position.
Were they shooting crooks from the water tower, or were they wanting to shoot Trump? Because why? How would they miss Trump if they're that good?
That's my like whole thing
Well,
through all this is like
He lived.
It literally
They all
it
missed.
literally was. Well, that's the thing is I don't think Crooks even got a shot off.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm starting. Well, I'm
I
starting
think if
to go
anything, they talked about how the police officer went up the ladder, saw Crooks. Crooks turned the
Time out.
rifle.
there. The ladder. Bongino says the ladder was put there later to go and investigate. That he has it on good authority for people he trusts that the ladder wasn't there at the beginning. So Crooks didn't use the ladder.
Okay. But the police officer, oh no, you're right. The police officer didn't use the ladder. He propped him up.
Yep.
That's what it was. So he props him up. They see Crooks. Crooks turns the rifle on him. He immediately goes down. His buddy drops him or whatever. They fall on the ground. And then the shooting happens immediately after that.
What? Oh, there's no way there's cops
so
coming
they
and he
were-
just retrains on Trump and
Yeah,
So
shoots
they
him?
that's
were
what the story
rushed.
is. That
That's
yeah,
why.
a rushed 130-yard shot with irons. There's no way.
No way. That's
There's no
hard.
way.
So that's why the footage of that shadowy figure
I
on the
haven't
water
heard this.
tower.
So let me recap, make sure I understand. So the people are like, hey, he's on the roof, he's on the roof. Some good policemen went over and they're
Right.
like, let's go. There's no ladder there.
So two cops.
So two cops, one of them boosts the other one. The guy peeks up over. The guy points a rifle. Obviously, he's like, whoa, bails.
Gets down. Yep.
And then immediately bang, bang, bang.
And then
Bang, 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 bang.
Right.
And then
Yeah, then they get him. So now this is So this, in my opinion, it makes a lot more sense.
there's no way. There's no way. And you know the cops are there. And then you're just going to be like, all right.
Yeah,
It's just no way.
No.
That
So
makes the
to
most
me-
sense to me because I'm like, why do you miss? If
Right.
you're at that level where you're a hired gun or you're a trusted, like, to pull off this type of shot, why do you miss
Well, here's the thing.
with so many shots fired?
But what we're saying is Crooks didn't even shoot. Well,
Well, no, that's what I mean. That this makes
Yeah.
sense that it was rushed because Crooks's cover was getting blown. They couldn't ignore it anymore. So they were like,
so
we
they're
gotta
like-
do it now.
They're like, go.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's out there like pouring Skittles in his hand, and it's like, oh, whoa, shoot.
Right.
But then misses.
Right. So then you
Ah,
have
because
and then it's like,
the
well-
actual assassins were
there
rushed.
was reports that said that spectators and people that were there were saying the water tower. There's someone on the water tower. So, but then nothing when they never investigated it.
Dude.
So my analysis, based on what I've seen and heard, is that there was more. I think it's more likely that there was a second shooter than Crooks making a sped up 130-yard shot and even getting close to Trump. Close enough to hit his ear. I don't think that. I have shot thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands around, and I'm no like expert, amazing. I'm not John Wick. We'll put it that way, right?
Okay.
Well, John
But I
Wick would
have
have done with a
experience.
pistol.
Yeah. And so making a shot like that with irons rushed, I would need probably 10, 15 rounds to connect at that point.
From the
Where you're like
from the
you're
roof
distracted,
or from the water tower?
Yeah.
then you have to
From
reach,
the roof.
and then you have like
Okay.
less than a second to like
Yeah,
and you
man-sized
point.
target, 130 yards with iron sights, and I'm rushed and have to go, boom, boom, boom. I'd be like, oh, boom, boom. Okay, slow down. Boom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I would have to take more time because immediately, like that fast, bang, 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 there's no way.
Let
There's no way.
me ask you a provocative question. So, who benefits from this then?
Okay, so there's two thought processes I have.
All right.
One is, and I think more likely, is obviously it had to have come from the current administration or government. I don't think that Biden was the one that planned it. I'm not saying that.
No.
He's not even aware enough to.
He's just eating ice
Maybe we
cream.
use a different word too. Like government is now
I think-
the managerial class that is being ran by
Yeah,
a
I
different
think this
group.
is behind the scenes, I don't know, military industrial complex, I don't know. But there's elitists.
Yeah. I mean,
That-
American military industrial complex like sounds stupid. I remember my cousin making fun of me for saying that, but like Eisenhower warned about it.
He nailed
Like,
it. It's a good name,
real.
too.
It's perfect.
It's
It's
100%
black book, black
Black
budget
Book.
money.
Yeah.
Like yeah, of course
Yeah,
they have power and they're gonna hold on to it.
correct. So I think it's either that's someone behind the scenes that's running the government, that has their hands in everybody's pockets, right? That orchestrated this to get rid of Trump, right? Everybody else that's ever been a president has been a career politician. Trump's not.
Yeah.
So he's like the wild card, right? And so the only way that they were going to beat him in a Biden versus Trump election is if Trump's dead, right?
Yeah.
That's the one I hear
think
a
Trump
lot
still
of.
pulls it off, dude.
Yeah, I think.
And his dying words have been like, "It was just Rosie.
Oh, Donald.
She's not attractive."
So I think that's what most people are talking about. That's like
Okay.
they're like, oh, it's got to be. But here's the other one that I heard the other day that I was like, oh yeah, I could potentially see that happening.
Okay.
But it's such a risky thing that it makes me think now. But it also could be Trump that coordinated it.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna ask because I'm like,
But here's the
and
thing.
so then
though.
the ear thing's a squib.
Or it's not, or he never got hit.
That's what I'm saying. A squib is and then blood, but it's fake.
Because
Yeah,
as we
it's all
have
fake.
we seen his like ear missing.
No, and in
Like-
fact, he met with Netanyahu at Trump Tower, and there's images of him standing next to Netanyahu. He has no bandage on, and his hair is kind of covering the top of his ear a little bit, but I mean, no bruising, no nothing. But here's the other thing: he could have very well put leg makeup on. He knows he's going to be in the spotlight. Doesn't want it to look bad.
Oh, for sure.
I
They
could
actually
see him
have
doing something like
they
that.
have putty and stuff they put in.
Yeah.
But
So I could see that, but
I mean, I love Trump because he's the funniest president we've ever had.
Yeah.
But God, imagine what we're talking about. One, he's not the president anymore, so then how does he have access to that type of machine? Then maybe it is just like John Wick, where you're like, beep, beep, beep. Is this the hotel?
Yeah. Yeah.
take my coin.
I need it. Yeah. I mean, is it that dumb? Because you've always said this, and I'm starting to believe it. The movies always tell us how it really works.
Yeah.
Does Trump just have a coin and he's like, yeah, hey, Netanyahu, remember when I built that hotel in Lebanon so your people could go in there and then go murder a bunch of your people that you hated?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, well,
Well, that's where everybody says like,
Yeah.
like it's a rigged game, and like, you're not even playing. Like, they're playing, and you're just like a spectator.
It can get pretty bleak when you think like that, but
Because how much, like, did 9/11 rally Americans?
Yeah.
And
we were all friends immediately.
we later find out, allegedly still, which is ridiculous, but we later find out, like, this very well could have been, like, our own government allowing it to happen. We'll just
Some
say
sort
that.
of something, yeah.
Right.
And so then he gets hit, and he stands up and has that, like,
This
badass
iconic moment.
fight.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
now, like, people are just like, holy smokes. Like, if we weren't for Trump now, like, now we really are.
Yeah.
And then it's like 2 days later,
Well, didn't you
the
even
the
hear...
internet goes down across the globe. Like,
Right.
screwed up my day at the bank
They're like-
tremendously. Like, it's airline stuff. Like, it's all just crazy. And then Biden puts out something that's like not even his signature, saying that he's stepping down. And then
Yeah.
they assign all the votes to Kamala. So Kamala,
that-
who got no votes in the primaries years ago,
Yeah.
dropped out before it even began. She was so unpopular. Now has all of the votes where no American voted for her.
If you think about it, dude.
This is so crazy.
Yeah, and here's this is my 2 cents on that, and I'll be quick because then we'll jump into the Olympics and the opening ceremonies and stuff. But in my mind, there's no other way to call that situation other than a coup.
For
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what
if
I
you
mean?
look at actual coups that are no longer even conspiracies, this is exactly how it all works.
Yeah, they literally. Biden disappears, gets COVID. Next thing you know, letter comes out. Hey, I'm no longer going to run for president. No endorsement of Kamala Harris.
Right.
And then everyone's like, well, where is he? He ends up coming out at the White House
3 inches
3
taller.
inches
3 inches taller.
Looking
Yeah,
pretty
right.
good, to be
And
honest.
gives a great speech
Looked
like he's
pretty
never done.
Good. He looked really
Yeah.
good.
So his body double comes out, right? Gives a speech. The crazy thing too is that Jill Biden, happens to be at
Excuse me, Dr. Jill Biden, please, Daniel.
Happens to be at the opening ceremonies of the Olympics and at that speech at the same time, 8-hour difference flight time.
Nuh-uh.
Dope.
I'm not even joking.
Haven't heard
you.
this, but
not
rad.
even joking you. There is video of her coming out of the Air Force Two or something to go to be at the opening ceremonies, and then
She
she
would
also
never
happens to be in the little White House garden for Biden's little speech.
She would never do that because their carbon footprint would be too big. If she's spending that much on fuel, Daniel, you're really saying
It's
a lot
not. I don't think.
incendiary
I don't
things.
think it's.
You just wait. Just
even
wait till we get to the
possible.
How
Olympics.
dare you?
Yeah.
To get.
How dare you? Yeah. So, anyways, good old coup d'état.
I want to say one thing. I am not losing hope because this is what's supposed to happen, people. It's supposed to be crazy and
Yeah.
wild times. So just hang in there. One principle I wanted to share as Daniel kind of cues up the next thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rule number 1, clean your own room. You have a lot of things you can work on. It's going to be easy to blame the deep state or Biden or Trump for all of the things that you're sad about in the world. But there's things you can do. Billy over here is out hustling, freaking making ends meet and delivering people's food. Daniel's cutting people's hair. Dog's hair. Good
Yeah, I
people.
don't- I don't cut
hairs.
people's hair.
Yeah, good people's
Yeah.
hair.
The kind
the
that
dogs.
The kind that just bite you. They don't talk back.
Yeah. I mean, there's things you can do to just make it happen and not blame it on all this stuff that we talk about. It's fun
Yeah.
to talk about, though.
Yeah.
I will say the crazy stuff with the JFK assassination, all the false flags we've talked about. I don't know. We may get the details wrong, but something's happened.
Yeah. Something's afoot.
It just fits so cleanly from the same playbook of the JFK hit. Like,
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And
Yeah.
there was money to be made then, and I mean that's the crazy thing. Then you
I'm
look
sure
at the
there's money to be made
fundraising.
now.
The fundraising now, it's so big that I don't think fundraising could have been a way for people to have their personal, like generational wealth developed before. But now, if you're managing Kamala's campaign
Yeah.
or whatever, and then you raise $100 million or whatever in like 24 hours, yeah, you're getting a cut of that. That's how that works. I mean, that's so you're gonna, you know, it's
Well, that's
like,
what everybody
there's so much money out
accuses
there.
Trump of doing is like he's not seriously like trying to be president. He's just like
Getting
running
rich.
to get money off
Dude,
like
every freaking politician ever. That's the game, dude.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the game.
Yeah.
All right. So
All right.
Which one of you? I didn't. I just saw that
No.
backlash. Did you guys watch the opening ceremonies?
Well, I'll do a quick aside. Me and my wife, we watched every Olympics. I mean, as much as we could. We would.
It's exciting
Since
times.
its
Why
existence,
wouldn't you?
right?
Yeah, back when we first got married, we would just watch it. I think we'd even would we record it or put it on TiVo or whatever to watch all of it. I mean, you know, we
Oh
did
yeah.
not care.
These semifinals.
Yeah.
Mary and I are the
you name
exact
it.
same way.
It's like,
Yeah,
oh, here's
same
the
way.
heat. Here's the heat with a bunch of countries that won't ever win anything. All right, let's watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for this one, I don't even think we realized it was coming on until all of the stuff we're about to talk about came out.
Right.
I mean, I knew the Olympics was happening at some point, but I was like, who cares?
Yeah.
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 I knew because I like love the like diving, synchronized diving, like springboard
stuff's
diving.
fun,
Like that
too.
stuff's so rad.
And
So
even the swimming.
Yeah.
I mean, but I remember Greg Gaines and those.
Yeah.
Are you old enough?
Yeah.
I mean, it was just amazing. And then he had freaking Ape Arms McGee, whatever his name
Yeah,
is. winning,
Phelps.
Like, Phelps. He's like won more gold medals in most countries.
yeah.
And so it was just
sick.
awesome. And now
Yeah.
I just literally don't care. Except it was almost awesome. I did hear the USA basketball team almost lost to South Sudan.
Yeah, and then LeBron like did
Oh
game
my
winner.
gosh. For real.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah.
South Sudan.
Yeah.
Now I will say those dudes from South Sudan look pretty athletic. And
Well,
they're-
that's what.
and they're
So
pretty tall.
so side note into like sports talk for a second. That's what they're saying, right? So like the Dream Team, you know, back
Yeah.
in like the early '90s, they're saying that back then it was like a professional team playing against a bunch of junior high kids
Yeah.
is essentially what it was, playing
Right.
against other countries.
Right.
So now, like our quote unquote dream team, like other countries have balled up.
Yeah.
And so now we're playing where there's a little more competition now, but we should still be able to like mop the floor with everybody.
But
So
then
the-
they almost lost to
So then
South
the
Sudan.
fact that we almost lost, I'm guessing our team like
So South
didn't even
Sudan.
stretch or warm up. And they just like showed
They
up
just get up.
2 minutes
They've been
before.
Well, no,
the
no.
entire
Listen,
night
a
before.
couple of them went. Yeah, a couple of them went to like Abu Dhabi or something the night before. Like they flew to Abu Dhabi and partied.
Oh,
and came back.
really?
So it really was like
gosh.
that. But South Sudan, I don't want to be like, it wasn't like they rode donkeys there and stuff. Like they've started getting some sponsorship. Someone famous with NBA connections is now managing their basketball operations. They have no indoor basketball facilities in the whole country, and he's now building one, and then they're going to have like 10 more. Manute Bol from Sudan.
Okay.
So some of that money. So they're actually going to become a powerhouse. There's a lot of colleges that have gone over there to
Like
recruit,
recruits,
and they're literally recruiting people that don't play basketball and they're young, but because they're going to be like, oh, hello, Mrs. You know, whatever your name is, and the mom's like 6'4",
Yeah.
Oh my
and like
gosh.
for fun, they just sit there and jump. If you see that, you know, you see the Africans doing that jump
Yeah.
dance. They're very, very athletic, and
Yeah.
so. Yeah, it isn't like they were terrible at basketball and just got lucky. They were a pretty dang good team.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's crazy.
They all had dual citizenship too, with like the United States and Sudan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So opening ceremonies, I saw the aftermath. I didn't watch it, but the most controversial moment that people are talking about is the mockery, if that's what the intention was. I'm imagining it was, but the mockery of
Why else do it?
the Last Supper with a bunch of transgender individuals. And it got all kinds of backlash. And people
I don't know.
were not happy about it.
Just look at that thicky thick in the front row.
Wow, dude. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Got the crown above it.
Yeah.
By above it, I mean above her. Sorry.
See, and this is a tough topic, and we have to be careful on how we discuss this because the YouTube overlords, the
Don't let your
algorithm
house burn
looks.
down.
Yeah, either your house will burn down, you'll get killed at a party, poison.
Well, you painted your roof blue.
Yeah,
You're
they
good.
can't- they
Yeah,
can't see
laser
me.
can't get us.
And that Faraday cage over my house.
Yeah.
Well,
This thing is weird to me because I don't know if it's worse. Like if they're trying to mock, I'm actually okay with that. Hear me out. So I belong to a church where some really popular people made a play about my church and they really ridiculed and mocked it. I don't mind that,
And it
to
was
be
pretty
honest.
funny.
I almost feel like it's worse if this wasn't meant to be a mockery, where they're like, you know what really represents the spirit of this Last Supper, which is the foundational thing for most of Christianity because it's when the sacrament was introduced.
Right.
Which, regardless of your faith in Christianity, to my knowledge, they all partake in the sacrament. It all represents the sacrifice that Christ made, dying. So it's the
Right.
foundational thing, and it's the initial moment. It's a revered, and they're like, here's what would really do it. First, let's get this beautiful plus-size person out here that's going to represent Christ. And I don't know. To me, it's almost like if their intent was to mock, okay.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. If their intention is like, this is just so beautiful and wonderful, that is almost where I'm like, it's even worse. Because that means the whole window has moved on.
Well, then it's
so
like
far.
they have the food come out, right? And they take the lid off the platter, and it's that person painted blue. And, like,
Yeah.
there's this whole theory that the Smurfs is based off of, like, dead children. So that's why they're blue. Like, the soul is basically
For real?
so the Smurfs
dark,
don't
dude.
have parents, right?
I like how Fielding just casually drops huge bombs about childhood beloved characters all the time, and I'm just like, what?
I know. When I was dating my wife years ago, I would make jokes about like Disney stuff, and she's like, "Stop ruining the Disney shows," because I would say like, "Oh yeah, this has like all this stuff hidden in it." Anyway, so
I remember that on the VHS.
Little Mermaid. We
Dude.
had those, and it's just like, yeah, there's no hiding that.
That is obvious.
Yeah.
Plain as day.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So the theory of the Smurfs is basically that like you could create life without like a mother and a father,
Okay.
and it's the
Because that's what it is.
yeah, humongnoid, I can't remember what it is now. The
Something weird.
homogenid, humongous. I think that's what it is, humongous. You basically make life in a bottle. And so it's like this ancient ritual where then you could like make people from the dirt. So like
And
God could create
a
that.
golem, right? A golem is kind of like that, right?
Yeah, so it's like that's made out of clay, and then so they
Interesting.
have this person now painted blue, which symbolizes the Smurfs, right? This like
Oh, dude,
that
that's so dark.
there's no creator, and you can just and then they're like going to eat this
So
individual.
blue person. Oh, so it's not that it represents the Smurfs or anything. It's that the blue person is saying, "Here's this figure of Christ, the Creator, but he's not." And we're going to flip the script. It's a woman now. And here is life created without a creator.
Yeah,
I don't like how easily that fits together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then you're like, if you don't have your explanation for it, then what is the explanation for it?
well, right. Why is he painted blue? Like
Yeah.
and
They
then
didn't
why
paint
is
it blue on accident. They're like,
Right.
well, which paints do we have? Well, I got some blue.
yeah, and then you have like the
Went to one of those like little places where they throw like the different
Yeah.
colored dyes at each other.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
they would-
everyone
the
just had blue.
Indian.
They all
He's
go
like,
to,
guys,
they go
I
to
died."
Lowe's and it's like the returns. They're like, yeah.
I guess we get this one.
How do we get this off? It did stain my skin.
Well, you have that, and then you have like the goat head, the statue of like Baal that they say is there, as they like pan across at the like where they were giving the
In the
speeches
photo
at the
we just
very
looked at?
beginning. It's not on that one. It's like later in the ceremony. So
This is gonna
I
be like
didn't.
the CERN episode we did where he did all that stuff.
Yeah.
Gives me those vibes.
And then there was like stuff I've seen online, like people are like,
see if I
oh,
can
like
find
what
it.
are they worship? Like the ladies in dresses with their heads cut off, and it's like, well, that's like referencing, like they're going through like French history,
Oh,
right?
Maria Antoinette.
Yeah,
and-
who like got her head cut off, and they mixed in like some French like rock band, I guess, like with it, and like, but there's a lot of artsy stuff, but also like the French is artsy and weird and do weird stuff
Yeah,
like that.
There's some.
And then you go back to, I think it was Tokyo, where their opening ceremonies, right? They had that like 500-foot freaking, not 500, but you know what I mean. This big, tall, like those doctors that had like the plague mask.
Oh yeah.
And they had a million
yeah, it was
nurses
like-
dance around the hospital beds.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
it was all
COVID or
very
something.
COVID 3, 4, 5, 6 years earlier. And so it's like, is that going to like predictive programming, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's so
Why
much
did they
stuff.
have plague doctors? Yeah, because it's
almost
not
makes
an
it-
accident. It's like because
Yeah.
you're thinking this is a big production.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's all very well like planned out. Like,
Yeah, it makes it feel like there's like it's all connected.
And obviously, the open ceremony was essentially just to showcase French contributions through history or whatever, right?
right,
Or-
which is
Right.
funny because they have that guy run around with the torch through all the different like times, and all of it's like revolution. Like, it's revolting against.
they're like, we hate oppressive
Yeah,
governments.
yeah.
And the government's like, yeah,
Because
let's do
we're all like actively being oppressed.
Nice.
Which,
Yeah.
beautiful.
it. Wow, dude, it's true. It's true. Because even Daniel's little comment at the beginning, this is like, we got to be careful about the way we say this.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like, we shouldn't necessarily have to.
yeah.
No.
I mean, I do think we need to be kind. Like, I wouldn't want to attack that actual individual that was playing that role or anything like that. But
Right.
Well, it's like freedom of speech, right? But it doesn't save you from the freedom of like consequences, right? Like,
Yep.
you can say whatever you want, but there's consequences to that.
Right.
But
Yeah,
like
that's
when
true.
the consequences are controlled,
Yeah.
right? And so then it's like, well, you're
at
not
least in
really
America
letting
right
me
now,
not say
the
stuff.
government wouldn't come and get us. But in other countries, they are, right? This guy's
Yeah.
in Britain.
See, and here's that
in
picture
Canada.
of Maria Antoinette headless, which is kind of, it's a little creepy, but
Yeah. So and then that's that up there. He's just like jamming out, and
yeah.
it like I get what that is, but also like that's pretty like blanked up, and like, you know, we're watching, my kids are in the room, like it's a
Yeah,
little
like,
graphic for like a thing that
just
the
seems
world is
like-
watching.
I don't know, if I was like thinking of like, hey, I want to showcase my country, I wouldn't be thinking like, yeah, the beheading of Marie Antoinette, let's definitely,
It'd be like us doing like an
don't know.
opening ceremony, and we have like a headless person riding like a car down the Texas like
right.
main street.
By the way, Mary says, is Travis wearing my sunglasses?
No, I bought these online.
He bought them online, Mary. But anyways, yeah, I don't know, the opening ceremonies,
awesome.
I don't know, yeah, it's very reminiscent of like the CERN,
Yeah.
and like the craziness that happens there, and I don't know, it just, again, just these elitists, they have an agenda of some kind,
Yeah.
and they're like wanting to shove it down everybody's throats.
And maybe I don't get that
Here's another
Last
take
Supper
after
opening, right? Like, I'm not like an artsy person. I don't have the art talent, nor do I care. It's so like,
Yeah.
maybe there's some message that like the world gets that I don't get.
Well, if
But-
you're talking about what the world got, anyone that's a Christian was like
Pissed.
blasphemy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I can see where they're coming from, you know, and I get it. I
Yeah.
mean, you look in history and like how often are Christians persecuted? Pretty common.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then to have like on a world stage something that could potentially be either satire or just
Yeah.
insulting.
Because
I
people
don't
are
know.
saying like they didn't do any like famous Buddha
yeah.
scenes or famous Muhammad events. Like, no, this is none of that.
Yeah.
It's just Christianity.
Well,
Yeah.
they wouldn't have them in France, though, right?
Yeah, and that could be the thing. Like, and that's where it comes from.
They could have went all in and been like, all right, and here's the Crusades.
Yeah.
They show
yeah.
like some paper horses riding in.
Yeah. Speaking of
Burning
horses,
cities.
they did have horses coming in on the.
Yeah, I saw
So
that
they're
one
saying
too.
about like the horse of the apocalypse coming in.
Oh my
Did you
gosh,
see
really?
that one?
Yeah.
I'll
I,
find
uh,
it and pull it up here really quick.
I forget that I need to actually watch some of the stuff that I no longer believe in, just so I can talk about it more intelligently.
Yeah.
Like the Olympics, when I used to have faith in the Olympics.
I mean, I did sign up for it. Well, I signed in through my like Comcast, and then watched some of the diving today.
You're hooked.
I'm hooked. Yeah.
You're hooked.
I mean, I could probably stop if I wanted to,
Do you know what I like to do when I go to a big like?
but don't make me
like
stop.
a still pond or something. I like to find rocks that are like about that big around,
Uh huh.
and then but they're narrow, and then I'll take them like this and I hook them in my finger and I'll go. And I throw them. I try to throw them as high with as much spin as I can, so they just go straight up in the air. And then when they hit the water, they go, chunk, and there's no splash, just like Greg Louganis.
I was gonna say you and Greg Louganis basically share the same skill
Yeah,
Same skill. I mean,
same
of,
person
of
almost.
entry into the water.
Yep.
Almost
Yep.
splashless.
Yeah, I was thinking if I could throw Greg Louganis off of a high dive
Yeah.
with.
Yeah. I think his most gangster move is having AIDS, hitting his head, going into the water, and then being like, "Nah, it's cool. The other divers
Here's the
can
image
dive."
of the
Well,
of
and
the
also,
horse.
it wasn't like he has AIDS now and we're more chill about it. I remember the
Dude,
AIDS,
it's like
the way
peak.
people. It was like peak.
That's the horse that was going around.
Wow.
Yeah. So maybe like
A little artsy, I guess, but
yeah.
I mean, I get it, and
it
it's,
still seems a little.
I get it. I guess I
Yeah.
don't know. I try not to have too. I'm an old man now. I'm a get off my lawn type of guy, and so all this
Get
stuff
off
I
my
try to
lawn.
resist the urge to be like that, like just
Yeah.
reject it because it feels weird. But
Speaking of being an old guy, so the Olympics coming back to Salt Lake, 2034,
yeah,
Right.
and
hopefully we'll all.
You know
be
what I
here
told
for
my
it.
wife when I
I'll
first
be
heard that?
48.
Whoa.
I'm having a hard time with that actually.
Same.
I'll
That's
be,
the
I'll
same
be
age. That's-
60.
That's old. That's
You'll be
old.
60?
Oh, buddy.
My youngest will be graduating from high school, and I'll
Yeah.
be 60.
Oh my gosh. Dude.
Oh, boy.
Oh, actually, I hope I'll be 60.
The funny thing is
Yeah.
when I
yeah,
thought
you
of
could
this,
not get past 54.
Right.
when Mary
shouldn't
when Mary
laugh about
told
that.
me
And
It's
I
not
drink
true.
this.
It's got sugar in it. It's good for you.
Oh, okay.
it's good for you.
Fielding, should I eat this?
Yeah.
Always ask Fielding for dietary advice because he's.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take care of you.
But anyways, no, when I first heard this, like my first thought was like if we're still around when that time comes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
supposedly like the Ezra's Eagle thing lined up.
We gotta revisit Ezra's Eagle now.
We got to take a victory lap on that
I'm
Ezra Eagles
actually
episode.
gonna go watch that one, yeah, and then just be like, "I told you,
Yeah.
I told you, America."
What did we tell you? We told you it was coming.
Oh yeah. I'll just do my macho man.
Yeah.
All right. So, Bigfoot. Did you want to dive into Bigfoot? A little bit,
Not
Travis, or
not tonight.
today?
I do want to.
Okay.
I want to say one more thing though. We talk about the rituals. There's another explanation. You know, it isn't just necessarily artists or blah 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 that want to do this, not the other. There could be dual purposes. Which, if you go into the Old Testament and just kind of read, like Elijah, and when he did the battle with the priests, and they're doing all these weird things.
The priests of Baal.
Yeah, and so all right, let's. I know maybe there's some non-believers or some people. Let's just assume that there is a devil. He's going to require some of these things, and they're going to seem weird and ritualistic. But that's because they're mimicking what God requires, which are also ritualistic things.
Yeah, yeah.
They're like a mirror image, and you see a lot of the things that we do that we hold sacred, like in our temples or at church, there's other sides of that are like mocking it.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
we like life, they celebrate death, right? And so I can see, like, all right, well, why would they do this? Why would they put this on the stage? Because they're required to. The person they worship is requiring them to do that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not necessarily saying it's like they all met in a green room before and planned it, but you know, if you're in that
If it was the
path,
moon
and
landing,
even if you're
yes.
even if you're
If it's
worshiping,
moonlight, yeah, then yeah, they did.
if you're worshiping even yourself, you're going to do stuff like this because you want to get that praise. Well, that's the fruit of it. You're like, well, I want to shock a bunch of people.
Yeah.
I want people to talk about on their podcast in Saratoga Springs about my, you know, Marie Antoinette costume that I built. Yeah, and it's the natural result of people worshiping. I heard who's the British guy that's super smart, used to be a comedian.
What?
Yeah,
I don't know. The list
he
could
was
be
an
long.
actor. He was married to Drew Barrymore. Now he's like a right wing guy, and he like got baptized and.
Oh, you're talking about. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's super handsome.
Someone
he's got
help us
long
out.
hair.
Help us out with that.
But
He was in like, and he's got a British accent, and he's got a podcast on Rumble.
and he was just talking
Gosh, I'm
about.
gonna look it up. Hold
Yeah,
on.
go ahead.
He was
look it up.
married to Drew Barrymore?
Thank you, Mary. Russell Brand.
Russell Brand. Well, Russell
Okay,
Brand.
yeah, not Drew Barrymore. He was married to Katy Perry.
Katy Perry.
Okay.
Now you threw us off.
Katy Perrymore.
I would have gotten, I would have gotten, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, Drew Barrymore, like,
Yeah.
that's just like
Drew Barrymore was married to
like
Tom
30,
Green.
30 years ago?
Tom Green. I was getting that confused.
Okay.
Now I even forgot why I brought him up, but he was talking about like we will worship. You become an atheist, and he's speaking from experience. Like he's been a believer, I've been an atheist, I've been.
Yeah.
We'll always worship, and so maybe God wants us to worship Him not because He's vain, but because if we don't worship Him, we'll worship ourselves.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
he talked much more eloquently with his awesome accent about what happens when we worship ourselves. We, get into pornography, we do
Yeah.
drugs, we destroy our families. And he says, maybe
Destroy
God just
our
doesn't want
lives.
us to do that stuff. So
Right.
he says,
Yeah.
here, worship me, and then you won't have to worship something else. Because he says, no matter what, you're worshiping something. And I thought it was pretty well spoken by Russell Brand, who's married to Katy Perrymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Clutch Mary, though, figuring that
Yeah.
out.
yeah.
Knowing
thank
where you were going.
Yeah.
Producer Mary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Producer Mary.
Took
Behind the
40%
scenes.
of the information and was like, I know where he's going.
Yeah.
It's this.
Can we get a little thing in my ear so she can just be like,
Yeah, we could probably
she can be my Cyrano de Bergerac?
Yeah. You can
Yeah.
be like, who was that guy that I.
She'd be like,
well,
blah, blah,
Russell
blah.
Brand, blah, blah, blah,
She'd
blah.
say it before I even
Yeah.
described it.
Yeah, yeah. Which would be pretty sweet. And you know what we need in order to make that happen? For you guys to like, subscribe, follow our channel, get on our website, conthedot.com. You can get on there. It's got all of our links for our social media. It's got our YouTube channel, our Rumble channel. We're giving it 110% on the live content now. It's a faster way for us to be able to get it put together. We're all busy guys. And
I got a request too. Like,
yeah,
I know that a few of you are still watching this. Give us some ideas of what you'd like to talk about, because
yeah,
we want to go down some rabbit holes, but we want to have maybe a broader array.
yeah.
One of our biggest videos is that one that Filling brought to us about the guy that kept resurrecting from the dead in Africa, and he was like almost like a savior. And I'd never even heard of that guy before. So
The one
like,
that got chopped up and
Yeah.
somehow came back to life.
So give us some ideas. We'd love to go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
What is his name? Simone Toko or
Simeon
Simeon
Toko.
Toko or something? Yeah, that one was crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, give us some ideas. Let us know what you want to hear and what rabbit holes you want us to dive into. The live content, we're going to keep it coming. Live every Saturday, unless you hear from us. 9:30 Mountain Standard Time. We're going to keep doing live episodes.
Yeah.
And we're going to keep getting better and
Thanks
better.
to
and
Daniel. He's technical guy.
I'm figuring it out.
He's figuring it out.
I'm
He's
figuring it
leveling
out.
up.
It's getting better.
Yeah.
Video and everything looked awesome this time.
We got a Denver
Pretty,
airport request.
Yes, Denver
which
Airport. I actually
I'm
Bro.
down.
look. Okay, I am.
Travis was there, and I was like, go find the flat Earth Free game.
Yes.
It's
Okay.
big.
Okay, this is
Yeah, but
my
you-
dream
how often
episode.
are
You
you
guys
there?
are actually, we're getting into, that's a great suggestion, by the way. But we're getting into one of my, like, big episodes I want to do.
Which is?
And what I want it to be is I want to go outside the studio, the three of us take a flight from Salt Lake City International
Bermuda.
Airport to the Denver airport
Oh, that's
and
a-
do a live
That'd be
episode of us
dope.
in the airport at all
That'd be
these
sick.
different areas. So when we get big enough,
hoping
and
to
I don't
say
know how many
Bermuda Triangle.
subscribers, maybe when
we
we get
might never come back if we do the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
no,
but the
no, that's a
beaches.
bad idea.
The beaches, though.
Look, how about this? We'll do Bermuda Triangle when we hit 1 million subscribers.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when we hit 1,000 subscribers,
There you go.
I'm down to
Denver.
hit
Take,
Denver
take a
Airport.
short little skip.
Well, we
short
got a
little,
promo for like 38 cents or something.
I was saying, I picked up my wife from there a few days
is a
ago.
good deal, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not bad actually.
Yeah. We'll just fly out in the morning, do the episode in the afternoon,
Yeah.
fly back at night.
It
Alright.
used to be you would like land in the Provo airport, and then there's just like some dude just launching suitcases onto the sidewalk, and just a big pile like girls' camp. And you just like wrestle your luggage out. But now they've got like a thing that takes it and trolleys
it's,
around. So
it's getting better and getting better. So
and that was a what's that movie with Lindsay Lohan? Parent Trap
Parent Trap.
reference. In case
Oh.
guys got that with the girls' camp
yeah,
I thought you were like
luggage.
yeah, that would
Stalking
be,
them.
Oh, that'd be so sick.
Parent
so,
Trap. That's a good movie.
Yeah. So Denver Airport definitely on the agenda. Maybe we can do a quick.
We should at least
Dive.
we
At
should
least
maybe
do
do
a deep dive?
a preamble episode because there's a lot of stuff about
I
it.
even
that we could
have
say.
it on our board behind Fielding's head. The Denver Airport. You see it there with the mountains in the background?
Yep.
Fielding, point to it for us.
Philly doesn't see it.
Under the Clintons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Denver Airport.
Well, I mean, a lot of that stuff can be easily explained. Like, we built a huge, like, 30,000 square foot building in the wrong spot. So we obviously just buried it in dirt.
Yeah.
That's what you do,
Yeah.
guys.
I didn't.
So-
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know much about construction. I
Yeah.
barely can figure this stuff out.
Hey,
so-
we should have a horse here. Yeah, but what if we had a demon horse?
Yeah. Red eyes.
Hear
What
me
if we
out.
had a bunch of Holocaust paintings
Yeah.
in the airport for people to look at?
in Denver?
What
In
if we
Denver,
had
of all
what if we had
places.
children in coffins and
Yeah.
a guy in a gas mask with an AK-47?
All right, all right.
Yeah.
Taking notes.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be great. I'm just,
I don't know.
coming back from my business trip. I missed my
Guys.
family. I hope everything's okay at home. Is that a kid in a coffin?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that
I
seems
feel
like a
better
brilliant
now.
idea.
All right. Enough sarcasm.
Yeah. All right. Well, keep it coming. Give us some more ideas. We're going to try to jump into some more rabbit holes and bring some fun content. Again, hit our website. Get some merch. I don't have it. I didn't bring down any merch today. We just got.
We need some koozies.
Yeah, I know. Okay, but speaking of koozies, we do have some. What do they call them? Like like the Stanley Cups.
Oh,
know?
yeah.
Yeah,
The trophies?
we have some that have our logo on it and have
Sick.
the alien and then it says connect the dots underneath it.
Because
so
they're champions.
yeah, because they're
Daniel,
champions.
you're so
You guys are
creative.
champions. We're gonna champion
Sick.
Tumblr. See, Mary helped me out again.
Nice.
Thank you, producer Mary, for helping us with those things. She can get inside my head. She knows what I'm trying to get at. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it. But more fun content to come, and we're excited to keep coming live. Eventually, we're going to have thousands of people tuning in every night.
Do you know what? We should say something, though. We should say thank you, Christine. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Karen, for letting us come and hang out.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. We get it. You're
It is a
home.
big deal.
Yeah.
She's
So thank
excited
you.
when I do this because she gets to then put the boys on a schedule. Because I'm always like, oh, I love this. We'll do this and this and this. And then so I'm making dinner late. And then it's like, I'm like, wow, let's watch a movie in bed with us. And so, like, the nights I'm gone, they're like
In bed
in bed
on
at
time.
8
We
o'clock.
hate
Like
your podcast,
responsible
yeah.
adults.
I hate that podcast.
I'm leaving, and they're like, hey, see you tomorrow. I'm like,
That's
well,
so funny.
I'll be back. But, oh, yeah, you'll be asleep. All right.
Yeah.
So funny. Well, we appreciate those amazing women in our life letting us come and hang out and share this fun, interesting stuff that we learn, that we want to learn more of. So, anyways, thanks again, you guys. Love all you connectors out there. Thanks for those that tuned in every Saturday night, 9:30 Mountain Standard Time, and tune in next week because we're gonna have more fun content. So love you guys. You're all champions, and we'll see you guys next time.